A lot of smoke.
He's trying to show us what it would look like with the 20th screen up there.
Yeah. I know.
It's a Black Friday deal.
True.
Couldn't afford to rent the rest of the screen today now. They could only afford the 20th version. No, that might be a 32-inch.
Let's think about, we have used virtual machines up until now to create and destroy machines and run applications inside those virtual machines.
Right.
Virtual
Yeah, sure.
machines
Cool
are,
story. It's a cool story.
Yep. And so virtual machines are a representation of real hardware. They're not real, they're virtual. They represent everything inside you will find typically in a machine. But a new technology has emerged in the last few, maybe years, I would say. And it is now getting mainstream. And this technology is a technology called container technology. And that's what Docker is. So it gives you a container. What essentially it does is think of it like this. Start thinking in a different way of, so different frame of reference is needed to think about what containers are and how are they different from virtual machines.
It's a sandbox, isn't it?
It is sandbox. It is exactly sandbox actually. So now, how do you think about that? I would like to give you some examples that you are probably very familiar with, but you've never thought of those things as a container. Containers are essentially giving a boundary around something. So you have a garden, and it's a beautiful garden, all green and all that, but you have kids who want to play in sand. How do you enable that? You put a boundary inside somewhere, put bricks around it, and put sand in between, and put your kids in that sandbox.
You contain their actions.
And you contain their actions, and then let them play. They get the contained environment that they want, and you still have a beautiful garden. Hope that they don't come out.
So really, it's the same principle as you've got your regular Windows machine and you're running Trusty. That's your sandbox because you can
Yes,
run
it is correctly,
inside of that.
it is sandbox. It is totally an isolated environment, but it's a full baggage of everything along with your hard disk, your operating system, your network card, your graphics card, your applications, your sound card. The whole thing is needed to make Trusty work. In case of this technology, you don't need all that underlying pieces, is what the idea here is. So think of it this way. You buy a new iPhone or you buy an Android phone. When you open up the camera first time, what happens? Do you remember?
You have to set it up.
Yeah, it's all the little hints.
Yeah,
It tells you all the little tips.
Hints and then some permission requests.
Mm-hmm.
What are those permission requests? Do you remember?
Security Apple
There's
notifications.
Security. As in,
Oh.
you'll remember, camera will ask your phone, your camera, and your camera, when you start it first time, it will say, can I access your GPS?
For geocaching.
Right.
For the
So
application.
what is going on?
it's sandboxing that app to not allow it to interact with anything else until you give it
To
permission.
explicitly permit, right? So you have to request for permission and allow that as a user, as a supervisor of the device, to allow camera applications to talk to the GPS. Sometimes you, again, install Skype application on a phone, and Skype starts first time. Skype will ask you for permission to use the microphone, permission to use the camera. Again, what's going on? Same thing. Skype cannot access your camera without your permission. Skype cannot access your microphone without your permission. And so these other things that are outside the container cannot be accessed. They're isolated. You don't really create a complete machine in a virtual box inside your iPhone, but you're essentially creating boundaries around, hey, you can play in this area and you play in this area, and all of us happily live together. We'll talk as needed. And so camera will access GPS information and embed that into the photograph so that it knows where the picture was taken. And Skype will be able to access the video camera or the webcam or the camera you have back and front, and also listen to the microphone and speak out in the speaker, play in the speaker. And so other parties can hear you and you can hear them and see them and be visible to them. And these aspects of requesting explicit permission from another application, even though it is the same machine, is the behavior that you will see in a container. In these containers, you don't have to worry about installing an operating system because you already get it from the underlying operating system becomes available to you. And you put your applications, just the apps, not the whole thing. And you have it up and running in an isolated environment, just like VirtualBox will do, just like an EC2 machine will create, or a DigitalOcean droplet will have, or a HP cloud machine will have. So completely isolated environments you get without the baggage of underlying technologies to move along. So remember, when I gave you Trusty the first day, it was a 5 gigabyte file. It is painful to copy around 5 gigabyte files, even in the same room. It is painful. It is a whole lot easier to just transfer 5 kilobytes, maybe 50 kilobytes, or maybe even 50 megabytes of something compared to 5 gigabytes. It's cheaper, easier, faster. And a typical application alone is small. A machine image can be big and is typically big. And so it takes 55 seconds for a DigitalOcean droplet to get created from a blank image that you start. You select an image, it takes 55-second guarantee that they have. You know what guarantee Docker gives? Sub-second, less than a second. And you have a new container and your app is running. And you can see it as we will start it in just a few minutes. You get the concept clear? What are we dealing with is not the baggage, just the app, just the meat, just the useful component. Because we'll expect and assume the underlying skeleton to become available to each of these containers that we'll create on the same box. We create independent containers and put stuff in there. Put various different types of applications in there. So if you think about our trivial example that we've been using all along, which is the LAMP stack. You have Linux, the underlying foundation. You have Apache, then you have PHP language, runtime, and then you have some kind of a database to store your data, and Apache web server will serve the web application, and it will, you can install WordPress, you can install Wikipedia, you can install Drupal, you can install a bunch of other applications that are LAMP-based. So that's the idea behind this environment. And so in case of what I just described, if you happen to have a situation like that, and you can create a container containing LAMP, you can just put applications on top in isolated in containers and use the underlying LAMP framework as well as the Linux underlying, as well as AMP, all available to you. And on the same machine, you can have another container running Ruby and another container running Java and another container running Python, and provide the underlying operating system support from below. So you don't have to install Linux on each of these boxes of containers. Just worry about the application and its dependency, what is needed from the underlying OS. You need some of the basic stuff like AMP for LAMP. You need Ruby on Rails for Rails application in Ruby, or you need some Python and Django installed for a Python application to run in a container. So the underlying infrastructure will give you that. You don't have to worry about creating all that. You don't have to, you can very easily start and stop containers in sub-second or even less. And that technology is evolved into a point where it is now getting to mainstream. And if you remember, in the first month, almost about the end of the first month, we used Heroku as a platform as a service, PaaS, where we created a simple Rails application and deployed it on Heroku. And the process of deploying on Heroku, essentially Heroku will run on Amazon EC2. And so they will start up a machine for you and then install Rails. And then you load your application, and all that jazz takes a whole long time. I mean, maybe 10 to 15 minutes, roughly. In case of this technology, which came from another company, which now competes and very beautifully with Heroku, is the company is called .cloud. And This is a platform as a service that competes directly with Heroku, except these guys do not have to worry about creating machines. Instead, they just create containers and deploy your app in less than a second. And you're done. And they have, as a side project, some time ago, created their entire technology and open sourced their product called Docker. And so these guys, in fact, there's a Solomon Hikes, this guy. He released his product in the open source. And he's probably younger than you guys. And his product is taken on and is immensely popular. It's open source. And this product is called Docker. It has been adopted by Google. Google creates 2 billion containers a week or some obnoxious number like that. But they're big. So they're 2 billion, not million, B.
Wow.
Yes. Wow. It's huge. I don't know what. So let's see how many containers Google creates.
So why? I mean.
So container technology is not new. Docker is new.
Okay.
Google creates containers.
But Google uses Docker?
Yes, yes, they are using Docker. Many companies who are using Linux are using Docker. So Linux is needed for Docker. It doesn't work with Windows. It is Linux only. It is not Mac either. So it's Linux only. Specifically, you have to have Linux. And there is a new Linux distribution that has come up called Core OS that is designed to run containers by design. But the kernel itself is rewritten to support containers.
I got a good question. I'm trying to wrap my head around this first. So Docker is pretty much just pretty much a pass, right? And what you're doing?
Docker is not a pass. Cloud is a pass.
Cloud is a pass. So pretty much.
Docker is a container technology that helps you deploy your app in your container. It's not a pass by itself. It's not a service. It's a product.
Okay.
Cloud is a service like Docker.
Yeah.
Or rather, Docker is like .cloud technology.
What you literally are just putting there is just your code in your.
Yes. You will put your code. And you will see
a package. So package means it's a
Git. Package can be a Git check-in, Git commit.
Oh, okay.
So whatever you write is your application, or your developer writes is your application. It will be in a Git repository, and you deploy that Git commit to a container, and you have it running. You don't have to worry about all the underlying pieces because Docker helps you with that.
Okay. No. I don't know if my knowledge is right, but it's like installing an app to your phone, and your app is your Git, and you're pushing it to your.
Yeah, you download an app from the App Store.
Yep.
Same concept.
Okay. So that's,
similar concept. There's no App Store here, but there is GitHub.
So GitHub is your main links. Yeah.
There are other pieces like GitHub, like Bitbucket, or like your own GitLab. GitLab is open source. So you can create GitHub-like setup for yourself in your company if you like. So maybe we should do some hands-on to understand this.
Yeah, I'm a hands-on guy. I can't do web shit. No. Yeah. I'm trying to differentiate what is the difference between what we've learned and what's the new thing.
This new thing is speed. Really quick deployments. Really quickly create a container in less than a second as opposed to 55 seconds. Quite a bit difference if you think about it.
Yeah, right? If you multiply that by 100 or 1,000.
Yeah. Think about it, it's quite a bit. It's 55 times, roughly.
So when you say deploy new codes, new program,
everything,
right?
Everything you want. You want a place to put your stuff, here is a container. You don't want it anymore, it's gone. You want more, here's more.
So this is pretty much rapid deployments.
Yes, that's what it says.
GitHub
and massive.
GitHub is where we put our code.
GitHub is where you put your code, it doesn't run it.
Yeah. Okay.
In a container, it actually runs.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So GitHub is storage, your containers is your actual platform that you run it off of.
Let's see, what's a good analogy for this? You're a robot.
Oh my God.
Alright.
Just get out of here.
So,
Differences between.
Good job, Connor.
GitHub is like a fuel tank, and card is the
Yes. Yes.
Platform as a service is just like having
Platform is that a service that provides you a place to run your apps. and
just
it
like
will-
if you were giving Linux as a service, that would be
that will become an OS as a service. You have to provide Linux plus some more things to become a platform,
plus a few more things.
like Rails, for example.
So it's more than just the OS.
Yeah, more than just the OS. If you just get the OS,
I was having trouble
it's easy to
comprehending that.
it's like infrastructure as a service where you get the machine and then you put the OS.
OS, and then so your OS is a service and you can get more. Like
Yes.
Core OS is a,
OS. It's an OS, like Ubuntu.
but it runs containers.
So yeah, it's even Ubuntu will run container just fine. We'll see it right now. We'll use Ubuntu first to run container technology. Right?
I've always been.
When you use Docker,
I don't think there's internet anymore.
Internet is.
Okay. And I did the MSSA.
I have enough internet on my phone
I work
for
in
this month
IT.
to get everybody internet.
So,
So you can log onto my phone. And this hour, I go up to 10 people.
and in college I did.
I gave you 40 gigs this month, so I'm good. And that's
You
right
and
now
18.
until the 8th.
40, that's
Okay.
good. And then have a minute.
So are you gonna deploy an app right now?
You just
Just very simple, same app as well.
Just create containers. Understand containers first.
So are you gonna
Before you deploy.
do this in GitHub first, and now you're actually properly doing it? So you're gonna make your repositories and stuff?
We're not getting the app levels. You just create containers right now. So you get to the app level.
actually works with.
Help me down, trying to figure it out.
She
All
says
that
it's-
long,
makes
like,
sense. Good
jackrabbit,
work.
she says it's hard.
So there are
Good work.
the steps that we want to do today are written down.
They're no.
They're written down in library. Search for Docker.
Should you print out for all these?
It's pretty new. He's like only 28. The guy. He's only 28.
Is he really?
Well, I'm 23, so, read that guy.
Yeah, you could be that guy. So go to what is Docker or
No, go to library. Search for Docker.
Library, Docker.
Library Docker.
No, those were like the book that was the word.
Right now,
You actually got that. That's funny. It's funny that you know what I'm talking about, though.
Yeah. Oh, you heard library.
You haven't seen that? You didn't go to the go to the Urban Dictionary.
You haven't done it, Daniel?
I don't.
feel that they
Go look it up.
I mean, I'll pay it, not good. It's a weird thing.
Yes.
Right now, because I figured I'm trying to bring you. This is the first year right after the. I was thinking,
So-
looking at the page. I was thinking at brand, like trademark, that's will come in my resume.
You go to Operation Beach Shop today?
All the
Okay,
experience,
library.
all the IT exposure. Just need about a year or two after that.
Library.classroom.
So the idea here that you see is on the library you search for Docker, and you will find this site. On the library you will search for Docker, and you will find this site, and you will need to run inside your trusty virtual machine.
Trusty, you said trusty? Oh, I should have started my trusty long time ago.
Oh,
You need like a.
You didn't remind us at the beginning of class, please class, start trusty, because it's gonna take from now until the end of the speaker to start up.
No, that's not true.
That's not true, but
It's
it's
so close to buying a MacBook Air during Black Friday.
Don't do it.
I stopped myself.
Don't do it.
It was $250 off at $7.99.
Oh, you won't.
but it's only a 4 gig.
When I get the.
Yeah, it was 4 gigs.
You need more than that. I
I
got
know.
4 gigs in mine. It's not enough. I'm looking at. I got 700.
So there's a place on the JBLM that gives you a discount. That doesn't work.
There is. There's other
Two
ways.
million next week.
There's
That's
other ways
always
to
good.
get a discount. You need to
There's an
call
online too.
Apple.
Online version you can buy online.
Call Apple.
How much do they give you?
They can give you a giant discount if you call Apple.
Veteran?
Not many people know about it, but if you call and talk to the customer support.
They have
call
a number.
customer
There's a
support,
government. There's government
No.
military.
Well, they'll look at refurbished machines for you. They'll look at everything that they have, and a lot of time they'll give you a big discount. So that's what I did with mine the first time I ever got.
How much you pay? 700?
No, remember when I first got it, mine was like a $2,500 machine
That's not discount.
that I got for
No, it's not done. It's 11 minutes.
2,000. Yeah, so like $500 off.
Do I need to send him a picture of me? Maybe bigger discount?
Yeah.
So bottom line, we need to have a machine up and running in DigitalOcean, and we need to select a specific image. The specific image is already enabled for Docker. If you run this image list like this, you will find it.
No.
So yeah, but you have to be looking
Go to digital.
otherwise there's no discount.
Yeah, fine. Library, right? Library has 5 words. We got some new hires.
Yes. Uh-oh. Cute.
Surprisingly, yeah.
Surprising, yeah.
Hey, DigitalOcean is hiring.
Where
I
is
didn't
it?
know that they were a startup, and they started from TechStars, and they're DigitalOcean, and they're valued at 25 mil right now. So I was looking at the startups on like the startup programs here in Seattle, and if you guys ever heard of TechStars, they pretty much if your startup is good enough, they'll finance you about $100,000 for 10% of your equity.
Oops, in Cloud Genius, I can't find.
So no, the people that'll mentor you is like from Zillow, like big companies.
Why we can't find the library in Cloud Genius?
Library.cloudgenie.us.
You say, oops.
Library.
I'll try with you.
So,
No, I'll try again. But this thing is like so.
oh, I got it. One result for Docker. Got
I'm watching a movie.
Oh no. You don't know what you're watching. That might be bad. I'm gonna turn
We're not
down
gonna
the
watch.
volume.
We're not gonna watch your classes, dog.
Come on.
I see it. I see it.
He's not even worried about it.
So you want us to create a job that you
You want me to create graphics?
I'm not worried about the password. You know why?
It's yours now.
Yeah,
You're
I
still
get
copy
phone
of
call.
me.
We'll hijack your phone too.
We'll clone it.
This is that verification.
Okay, my trustees don't.
Answer that.
This is
Go where?
2-factor.
Go to your face. Go search library and put doc.
I thought he was gonna start his car game show.
How many are we here to survive? Something.
Hey.
Numbers.
Well, one guy
Mine's-
was
mine's up on
pregnant. But he's due soon. But and then not a lot of people are a fan of the commander in chief. So. Did you not catch that yet? Commander in chief was on the class. That's why he's always late. 'Cause he's in a golf game or something.
Polo practice.
Yeah, to discipline his driver on the way here.
No, so, like when he was in Washington, some chick was like
drop me off.
had to give birth on the highway because they wouldn't let her.
Do you
go
want
to the
to make sure to
hospital.
start this machine image? Do you find this machine image? Which is
My trustees at work.
which is a Docker image specifically for Docker. That's what you want to get. Because this has built-in Docker ready to use.
So just run that command, knife DigitalOcean.
Yeah, this command will give you all the machine images, and you will find one of the results is this.
Okay.
That's what you want to get.
But you already have it there
Yeah,
on the side.
yeah, you will use it. You don't have to run the command, but I'm just giving you how to find the number.
Yeah, I had to do the hard way where I didn't realize that there was an image list in Knife. So I actually had to search like Google, like all the image lists. Remember that when I was trying to get that that's terrible. Terrible
I
time.
still want to do OpenStack.
There it is.
Oh, sweet. Did you get to do it? Did you do it?
Yeah, I use Fedora 20 because like the CentOS
I have was, I think, a bad image, but I copied 3 different versions of it, and it still won't work. I was like, okay, I had some problem too. So I had to use Fedora. Fedora was good, but it slowed it down because I had to do the UI because I was a user. I didn't realize that I could just install the UI.
So
You don't need to install the UI, but it's okay to install the UI. It'll still work.
It's slow as heck if you. I'll tell you that. It took me 5 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes to do.
Because your resources are gone, right? Your
Yeah.
resources are gone and busy with the display itself. You don't need all these things.
But you gotta be user friendly.
So we want to run the particular command here to start off. The DO droplet with Docker built in.
My thing's corrupted. Not cool.
We have to do like, we can do the same as SSDs.
If you want to just watch and you don't want to do it, I would need one volunteer and I'll do it here. Bring your machine if it's running, if it's up and running. If it is running your trusty, watch it.
Thank you.
So connect and project.
Hijacking.
You know how
I
to
don't know if
project?
you noticed this, but Aaron likes to do stuff.
Go drop down the
I
Wi-Fi.
do not like stealing people's thunder.
he said the
My thunder stealing.
Thunder buddy.
What do you want me to do?
Change your Wi-Fi.
I'm learning about Susan SDK also. So it's going to develop small the watch. But I don't know what I'm doing.
So change your Wi-Fi to Cloud Genius and project. And now you can project. Can you?
That's megabytes on my RAM that I have left. I don't know. I guess I can project. Maybe.
What's the password to trust me?
It's Cloud Genius. Yeah. So that thing that comes up, yeah, just project to Cloud Genius. There we go.
I've never seen
Let's remove that file then. Just remove it?
I still need to go here, right?
Lock down the little Cloud Genius symbol.
Yeah.
There it is. I'm still working on that.
Yeah, it came up.
Oh, I just locked my computer.
It's coming up.